This Toronto-born artist has been making her mark on the Canadian country music scene since releasing her first single in 2019, accumulating over 1 million combined streams. Jessica Sevier, you just dropped a new single, Legends of Summer. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm super excited about the single. The response has been great, and I'm just so happy that it's out.
When I think of music in summer, usually people have a song that they remember that summer by, and you might have one here.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's a song that kind of reminisces on like first loves. And to me, that's teenage summer romance and all of like the invincible feelings you have when you have no rules and no obligations. And that's kind of what this song is. And I think that, I hope that people play that this summer and kind of feel that nostalgia, or like maybe they're in that situation right now and they feel this legendary feeling. And this song's just going to be like so relatable to them. And that's kind of the vibe of the song.
So it was written by 4 hit songwriters, and they pitched it to you?
Yeah, they did. I was super grateful for it. I heard the song for the first time, and I was like, yep, I know exactly what I can do with this song. And I took it to my producer, and he instantly heard what I was talking about, and we made it this like rocky country song, and it was exactly what I wanted. I love rock music in the 70s and all that sort of stuff, so we really put that into the song, and they were happy with it. The writers were happy. Everyone was very happy with it, and the audience is loving it, so yeah.
You're a big Fleetwood Mac fan, I understand.
I am. I do love Fleetwood Mac. Stevie Nicks has been a huge inspiration to me my whole life, and especially as a teenager, I really looked up to her, and I got compared to her a lot when I was a young teenager. My voice was very Stevie Nicks sounding, and I've grown up a bit now, so I think I've grown out of it a little bit, which is kind of sad, but when I was younger, I did sound a lot like her, and everyone would tell me that, and it's really impacted the way I write and sing and see music as well, because they made that comparison, and I started to make comparisons of myself to her as well, and yeah, she's just an amazing artist, and I was so grateful that I was ever compared to her.
So if you were put in the same room as Stevie Nicks, what would you say to her?
Oh my God, I don't even know. Probably just thank you for the music, and thank you for everything you've done in the music community, and thanks for giving me inspiration and the music that was the soundtrack to so many years of my life. And then I'd probably can I hug you? I always want to get a big old hug from her and be like, thank you.
That's awesome. Well, Legends of Summer is available online. All of the outlets have it, and it's a pretty cool tune. I want to go back and talk about some of your other hits. Last year, you released Confetti and another single, See You There, and those were recorded down in Nashville with Grady Saxman.
Yeah, they were.
And he did Luke Combs.
Yeah, he did drums for Luke Combs on some of his first albums, and he's working with Tennille Art, and just so many amazing artists that, I was so glad he was able to squeeze me in. I was nobody, and I just walked in there, and we made these incredible songs. And, at that point, I was feeling very stuck musically. I was just kind of putting everything I had into my music, and there was nothing really coming out from it. It just wasn't being received the way I wanted it to be. And I took this Confetti to Grady, and he just completely blew me out of the water on that song and See You There. I did them both at the same time. We recorded them within 3 days. It was a tight turnaround for those songs. And, I would have done it on the other way. It was just so incredible to watch the musicians he had work, and he's an incredible producer, and everyone there was just so brilliant that it just blew my mind. And I think that really translated into the song, because it just kind of blew up, Confetti, and it just, everyone was loving it. It got so many streams and went on to radio. It was just an incredible moment for me when that song came out. And then to follow it up with See You There, another song that he did, was just even more incredible. The love for that music was so genuine and beautiful that, I hope that translates into this next song. And it already has started to. The love is just pouring in. And, I owe a lot to Confetti. Confetti is what really started the whole momentum of my career. And we're very, very thankful for Grady.
Yeah, so Confetti hit #1 on Canadian indie country radio charts. And See You There, that would have been really cool too, because charting on Canadian radio, it was the 3rd most downloaded on its first day, 25 radio stations.
Yeah, it was just insane. So We did Confetti. We kind of held off on like major radio. It went on Sirius. You know, it went on to like independent stations, and that was just from the song being released. And then when we put out See You There, it was, okay, let's do this radio thing. And yeah, like it just got downloaded so much. It was the third most downloaded, which was just like the names on that list with mine were just, it blew me away. And yeah, it played on rotation over Ontario on 25 stations, which, you know, has just been a dream. You know, I turned on the radio and there my song was. I filmed my reaction to it for when I heard it for the first time. I was sitting in my car and I turned on, it was in Kitchener. I turned on the radio and there it was. And it was one of the most surreal moments of my life for sure.
Did you cry?
Maybe in private later I did.
So going back to Nashville where you recorded those 2 songs, you just did your debut back in April at the Whiskey Jam.
I did. That, again, so surreal, the things that have been happening in the last year. I was invited down to play Whiskey Jam. I'd never played in Nashville before. I'd only ever been there to work and record and write. So getting the invitation to come down and play Whiskey Jam was just incredible. I think that I squealed on that one, I think, a little bit more than the radio, which is funny. But yeah, my whole band and I drove down there and we got stopped at the border. It was a whole mess, but we made it. We made it to Whiskey Jam, and I can't even explain the feeling that I got stepping on that stage and you know, playing that show it was just like this legendary thing that I was playing, and I couldn't believe it. So early on in my career, being down there and playing, and it was packed, man. I mean, the rooms were filled wall to wall, and here I am on stage and singing to these people, and the crowd is just wild. And I have no words. It was just, I think I'm still trying to collect my thoughts from this past year of what has happened and what's going on. But yeah, Whiskey Jam was super cool, and I'm really excited to go back and play more.
Oh, that's so cool. And you have some awesome shows coming up. Actually, last night you just played Dakota Tavern in Toronto.
I did, yeah. Dakota Tavern last night, which was incredible, so fun. The fans that come out are just always so incredible. They always love to take pictures and scream and yell, and we have such a high energy show that everyone gets into it and is loving it and dancing, and it's so fun. And we're playing the Wheat Chief on June 5th as well for Canadian Music Week, and then we're doing the Cameron House in Toronto on June 16th. So there's lots of stuff coming up soon and lots more to come the rest of the summer. It just hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah, there's I think you're at Parry Sound, Bands on the Bay, too, in July. That'll be awesome. Yeah,
Bands on the Bay is something that is really near and dear to my heart because I grew up performing out in Parry Sound and Georgian Bay and all of the surrounding, like, Muskoka areas.
Okay.
I started there when I was about 15. I would play every weekend, like twice a week around the Muskokas all summer. And that was like my summer gigging was just all the way up there. And then I slowly started coming back down to Toronto and making my way around. But I built a really big community up in the Muskoka area. And every time I come back, they're huge supporters and they just love the music. Every time I come back, there's an announcement on the radio saying Jessica Sevier's playing tonight. Come on out. And it's just so, like, it feels like family and home to me up there. So I'm so excited to go back.
Oh, that's great. So how long have you been singing? You said you were going up there since you were 15. How long have you been doing this?
Professionally, about 14, 15. I started gigging regularly, recording music, but it wasn't till I was around 18 that I actually put out music and started the whole artist journey. It's been a wild ride, but yeah, no, I've been singing my whole life. I've always been doing that. I studied classical music growing up. I sang opera. I did all of that as well as studying like contemporary voice. So it was always a part of my life. You know, music was just something that I always did. And when I was old enough and I felt like I was ready, I just started playing and I just never stopped. So it's, you know, just been something constant throughout my whole life. And
you've done some songwriting. You contributed to some of your songs and you do production as well. You produce some of your own stuff during the pandemic. Is that right?
Yeah.
On Pro Tools?
Yeah, I did. So I do write a lot. I've been an avid writer my whole life as well. And I only ever really started writing with other people during COVID. I always wrote my own stuff. I never really, collaborated. And then with COVID, the boom of like Zoom writes came about. And that's when I started writing and collaborating with other people and really grew as a songwriter. And as well, I mean, I was stuck in my house. I was finishing up my degree in audio engineering. And I was like, you know what? I know how to use Pro Tools. I know how to do this. I've learned about this for the past little bit. Let's just make some music. So I would invite my friends over and we'd jam and we'd record and we'd, sing, and they would play on my songs, and, I would put them out for, people to listen to, my friends to listen to, family. And it was more of just like fun that we had during the pandemic. And, if something took off, it took off. But once the pandemic cleared up and we had confetti, we were like, okay, this is a really serious thing. Let's, we made the momentum with these fun songs, and let's keep it going.
Yeah, it's great. And going back to your music writing, you actually got a spot to compete on the TV show The Shot, remastered in 2020.
Yeah, that was super fun. It was, again, during COVID, so I remember auditioning for this show on my phone.
Oh.
Like, my phone is set up, and I'm sitting there with my guitar playing for the judges, and it was just so hilarious that was what we were doing at that time for TV, was filming through our phones from our bedrooms. And it was a great experience. I met a lot of writers. I ended up going to a writing retreat with the whole group, and we really worked on collaborating and writing, and that's really where I stemmed, my co-write skills was from that experience. And I wouldn't change it for the world. That was so fun. And the pandemic really brought a lot to my music career. I know, it's just like sitting around and learning so much. So being on that show was amazing. I met some great people who really pushed me forward. And I'm still friends with a lot of them.
And for your music career really kicking off in 2019, most of your professional music career has been during the pandemic. Like, we're just getting out of it right now. So you've really blown it out of the water and using what you could, the best you could.
Yeah. I tried my best. I mean, yeah, like the first year and a half, 2 years was, we were live playing and doing all that stuff, touring, and then it all just shut down. And I was so young at that point that, I just kind of was like, let's learn, let's create, let's figure it out. And then coming out of the pandemic, I had so much ammo ready to go that I think that's what really took off, was just I was so inspired and so prepared to start my career and get back out there once, we opened up, that I think it really helped a lot with the new music.
Well, your new song, Legends of Summer, it could be our summer song, and you can check it out on all of the online platforms. Jessica, thank you so much for taking the time with me, and best of luck with your upcoming tour. And I hope you have a great summer and just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Awesome. Thank you so much.